I'm Ashton Addison from Blockwest Capital for Investment Pitch Media and the Crypto Coin Show. And today on Blockchain Interviews, we have Niko Hosn, CTO of RareMint. Niko, welcome to the show and thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, Ashton, thank you for having me on. Really excited to be here.
You're very welcome. Let's dive into the world of NFTs, minting going on in all different industries, a lot not related to finance. And it's interesting to see what kind of assets in the real world can be tokenized and turned into NFTs. Let's kick off the conversation with just a high-level overview from you and what your team at RareMint is working on in the space, and then we'll dive into the details.
Yeah, great. So we at RareMint are all focused around asset-backed NFTs. So we have access to about 350 million worth of rare sports collectibles. When we pull collectibles out of the physical collection, we bring them into our in-house studio. We shoot every asset anywhere from 300 to 2,000 times in 12K. Once that process is done, we create a 3D model. Then the assets get vaulted, insured, and submitted to our auditing firm. And so end-to-end focused on the asset-backed, bringing the physical to digital.
Very, very cool. And now, what kind of assets are you guys starting with to bring into the digital world?
Yeah, so we're starting with sports. We have had 4 drops so far. We currently have a 5th drop ongoing on eBay for a pair of Steph Curry shoes. We're focusing on high-end sports collectibles, pieces that are culturally significant and historically significant, and easily identifiable with the what we believe the current NFT buyers to be.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And for the most part, people in NFTs are hearing about Bored Apes or most things that are mostly just digital and not physical. I'm guessing that you've done a little bit of research on the potential for real world assets to become digital and have both that physical and digital aspect to them. Where do you see this market that you're heading in the niche of NFTs growing from here into the years to come?
Yeah, so I think there's a generation of collectors that existed prior to NFTs being a thing, right? And if you think about collecting over the years, sports assets have been something that have gone down from generation to generation. Sports cards getting handed down from throughout the family, tickets, Type 1 photographs, balls, jerseys, anything that you can think of. And we believe that the new generation of collectors will still appreciate the value of physical assets and having things backed by the hard asset themselves. I don't think digital only is going anywhere, but I do think what we're doing is a very nice complement to digital only products and approaches.
Very interesting. And are you seeing those same families that are passing down these old versions of collectibles into this same new NFT version, or are you also just seeing like NFT collectors or institutional investors or large companies similar to like Nike buying Bored Apes?
Yeah, so we see it as kind of all of the above, right? So we have a large part of our business is focused around education, right? As I said, there is a large group of collectors that have been in the hobby prior to NFTs being a thing, especially prior to them exploding last year. And what we found is that these collectors, they want to get into the space. They want to enjoy digital versions of the assets that they have or assets that they can't get. And there's a huge educational component that we have to kind of guide them through. Hey, this is the journey of what traditional collecting looks like in the Web3 era. So that addresses native folks. They get it. They understand, hey, okay, I have this NFT. I can go and do what I normally do with my digital only, right? I can go take a loan. I can go fractionalize it. You name it, right? And they appreciate that it is backed by the actual asset. And lenders like that as well, because at the end of the day, if somebody defaults on a loan, they can exchange the NFT for the physical asset. Funds are looking at this as a really interesting approach to entering alternative asset classes for their actual fund and diversifying a bit. And we've seen that already in the short while we've been live.
Very interesting. And I feel like if you're working on sports memorabilia, in the olden days, there's so many different baseball cards, and often you can get them at garage sales, or they're fairly cheap to start accumulating. But there's also, of course, the rare ones and ones that are quite expensive. I'm guessing with NFTs, how you guys are starting, you're really starting with more rare or more expensive NFTs. What does that look like from the drops that you guys have done so far?
Yeah, so our lowest price drop so far has been about $14,000, and it was for a 1930 Jules Rimet FIFA World Cup Captain's Trophy. It was actually the first Captain's Trophy given out at the first FIFA sponsored World Cup. Our assets range anywhere from $1,000 to seven figures plus. We're experimenting because we are so new. We launched back in March, in the middle of March. And so we've been out for a little under a month now. And so the subsequent drops that we have coming are going to be priced at a little bit more reasonable entry point. But the assets are still very, very special.
Definitely. And now just speaking of like the utility of NFTs and tokenization, smart contracts, and the ability to program code into that, beyond just having a physical baseball card. Is there anything special about the NFT that RareMint is building of these physical? I know you mentioned, photographing them in 12K and making sure you're getting an exact replica of the physical. But are there any other benefits to the NFT portion of it?
Yeah, so we are experimenting with this concept of dynamic NFTs, and where this is really interesting and almost a little difficult for us is that a lot of our assets are from athletes who unfortunately are no longer with us. We do have assets from current day athletes. Think your Patrick Mahomes, your Tom Brady, and so the deals that we're trying to structure involve, okay, if Tom Brady throws 10 touchdowns over 2 games, how does the NFT evolve, right? How does the NFT grow into something that has a different media layer, or it unlocks a different piece of content that's stored on Arweave? There's a number of different additional layers of value that we want to add to the to the NFT. And we're really kind of in the exploratory phase of how do we add those layers and how does the community respond to those layers?
Very cool, and I like that. And you mentioned about the education, bringing old collectors in to sort of getting them to understand this additional value. How do you do that for, especially, I can imagine the baseball collectors that have been collecting for 50 years, some of them not technical savvy. How do you convince them that this is the future of collectibles? Yeah.
So because we are so new, it's been very much a live kind of, hey, email thread, get on a call with us. We'll walk you through this, very much like a curated experience, right? We want the people that are supporting us early to feel very special about the purchase that they're making and feel comfortable with trusting us with these assets. Now that approach isn't scalable. So we have our UX and our product team working on a really, really thorough onboarding guide that serves as kind of an educational cookbook of sorts that will help people that don't understand the space, don't understand crypto. I mean, it's going to be like an Eli 5 cookbook of NFTs and collectibles. So
very cool. And I'm sure, as it continues to expand out into the more of the mainstream, you will need a large educational center and just keeping people up to date on how you guys are making these things unique and how to access them, trade them, buy and sell, and all of those things. So I'm sure that's just one part of how you guys are going to continue to grow. Maybe you can talk about, moving forward, you guys are really new and there's so much to do. What is sort of in the immediate roadmap of the next few months on how you're going to expand?
Yeah, so we have a couple things. We're working with and this kind of ties into the educational component. So a lot of traditional collectors don't have the desire. What we found is they don't have the desire to want to manage their own crypto keys. And so as we go through our UX and our product process, we've identified partners that we can work with that can offer them a custodial solution where we can tap in that can basically be plugged into our marketplace, where a user only has to sign up with their email and password. And they can go and trade and transact and not have any responsibility for managing their keys. That is an opt-in option if they so choose. We'll still allow anybody to come into our marketplace and participate in any way. Additionally, we're working on fractionalization. If you look at a piece that's $100,000 Michael Jordan jersey, it is your market to the potential buyer's market for that shrinks substantially at that price point. And so we are currently in talks with figuring out how do we tap into existing projects and existing protocols and leverage what they've built to offer fractionalization to our users. We're a very crypto native company, and we very much believe in composability, and we try to put that first. And so looking at things like fractionalization, lending, how do we leverage existing protocols there? Those are things that will be coming in Q2. In addition to that, we have this concept of collect to earn. We will create NFTs that are a lower price point that we call limited editions, and they're more of a collector series, collector piece, at a price point that's anywhere from $10 to $20 to $50. So everybody can participate, the modern fan. For us, that feature is very, very special, because if you look at the current prices for an NBA or an NFL game, 4 tickets, parking for a family of 4, food, drinks, almost everyone is outpriced. And so you have to create additional ways and additional experiences that allow fans to connect with their athletes, because unfortunately for the modern family, they can't afford to go to the game anymore. And so that $10 to $20 price point, whether it be a sliver of a jersey, or if it is a 10-second interview clip, 30-second, you name it, if we can provide value to the everyday fan in that type of way, we want to launch that in Q2 and offer that. So those are a couple of the immediate short term. We have some more on our long-term roadmap. I won't get into that. It's posted on our Medium. So if viewers want to check it out, feel free to head over there.
Amazing, Niko. And yeah, I think that divisibility and fractionalized NFTs will be some of the most important, not just to get access for retailers to be able to own a piece of history and own something that's really expensive, a little portion of it. Also, just in the market itself, bringing liquidity to those assets and opening up the market for people on the seller side too, to be able to get a little bit of liquidity, or have pieces that normally nobody could own, have everybody be able to own it. So I know that there are protocols working on that, and I'm excited to see how you integrate that into RareMint. So very cool. And you mentioned there's more drops coming, and also that there'll likely also be some that are lower price point to get people involved. How often are you guys doing drops, and is it something where the demand is so high that a drop is announced and then within 2 minutes it's sold out? And how can people learn about those?
So our Twitter is the best place to go for any and all information related to drops. The sort of mechanics for how drops work are best explained on our Discord. So if you're not on Twitter, I would go check out our Discord, and vice versa. So we have we're very quickly scaling out to additional collectible verticals, right? We have Pokemon coming up. We have movie props. We have anything that's collectible relevant. We have some amount in our inventory. So right now we're at a point, because we just launched, where we're experimenting with different types of assets, right? And seeing what the market dictates will be our primary vertical moving forward. We currently have a drop on eBay with Probstein123, who's the largest eBay retailer of sports memorabilia. And so that drop is live. It's the first video NFT drop on eBay. And if you go to the listing, you can see the actual NFT in action. That ends on Saturday of this week. And so after that drop, we will have a cadence of 1 to 2 assets per week. We will announce them prior to the assets going live. And once they go live, they'll be available for primary purchase on our marketplace, which is raremint.com. Secondary trading, we don't restrict, can happen on LooksRare, OpenSea, anywhere you choose.
Very cool, Nico. I'm looking forward to that, and to seeing Pokemon and the other verticals on there as well, and opening it up to others for collecting and trading these NFTs. So very exciting. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on and explain this all. It's really exciting to see how these other industries are becoming tokenized and just getting more people involved in taking advantage of the benefits of blockchain technology, and bringing more financial inclusion to people that couldn't used to buy a $100,000 piece of an investment, fractionalized, and re-own, and then can resell it on a marketplace to anyone around the world. That's incredible technology. All the best to you and your team moving forward. I'm looking forward to these launches that you mentioned in Q2, and let's follow up in the near future.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate you having us on.